Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez.
And I'm Kevin Friel. We'd like to remind you right at the top that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website. You can log on at www.town.barnstable.ma.us.
Since the fall, town budget officials have been working in earnest to craft the fiscal year 2011 operating budget. Thursday, the town council will listen to individual budget presentations by department directors. The document is the subject of this interview with Assistant Town Manager Tom Lynch.
First off, we're going to be talking about the town council meeting this Thursday night. It's the May 20th meeting. It's the first reading of this year's, coming year's, 2011's fiscal year's operating budget. Now, Tom, how would you categorize this year's budget?
Well, first I'll say, this is the budget book. So all the town councils have this now, and they've been looking at that. And this is a culmination of many months of work for staff to get to this point. But this budget is basically a maintenance budget. The operating budget is actually decreasing $1.3 million, or 0.08%, which is really 0.08%, which is really a significant decrease over the past years.
Now the airport is showing a 17% decrease. Why is that going on?
It's the largest decrease of any of the funds, and that's occurring because of the reduction in or decline in the expected amount of jet fuel sales, which is a direct result of our economy and reflected over in Nantucket, less trips, and so the jet fuel sales are what's accounting for that 17% decline.
Now, the HYCC, or Highness Youth and Community Center, has shown a bit of an increase, about 5.8%. Now, could you tell us why that fund is seeing an increase?
In light of other accounts, folks might look at that and say, gee, why are they seeing that sort of increase? Well, it's actually because they're going from a 10-month year this year, because we didn't start until into September in the fiscal year, and this year will be covering the whole year, all 12 months.
Very good. Now, Tom, could you tell us about the revenues, what they look like for the town of Barnstable this year?
Well, there's actually an increase in our proposed revenues of 2.65%, and that includes a 2.5% increase, which is under Prop 2.5, which is allowed by law, and then about $450,000 in new property tax growth. And that brings the increase to about 2.9%. Now, that's actually the lowest level of new property tax growth for the town since the implementation of Proposition 2.5 back in the very early 80s. On the excise tax, as we've talked about before, there's going to be a decrease there of about $650,000. State aid, we believe, is going to be level funded. That 4% cut that we've covered at other points in time, the House and Senate seem to be holding to that. When you look at all the other revenue declines that are out there, there's another projected decline of $1.3 million, which means that the available funding for our general fund is only about $41,000. So when we look at why we call it a maintenance budget, because there's very little revenue growth, despite the 2.5% increase that gets eaten up with other declines that are out there in the budget.
Very good. Now, let's get into a more. I would just want you to highlight some of the budget changes and how that affects municipal operations.
Well, we do have some service enhancements, things that we'll be adding, as well as reductions that we've made along the way. We're adding about $189,000. And probably the key things there are, we want to continue the shellfish propagation of additional $30,000 because we've been trying to promote that industry and keep that going. We are adding, or requesting of the council, that we add an economic development coordinator. We feel that we need to boost that department. There's only a part-time person right now, but we want to boost that activity, particularly in these times where someone is out there on the street and working with our small businesses, bringing them to the resources that we have and that we've got available. So we're asking for that position. And then there are some structures and grounds efforts to keep up Azleton Park and the new walkway that are coming from, say, the embarkation revenues that we get through the Steamship Authority or through Bismarck Park revenues. And then on the reduction side, there'll be a reduction of about $72,000 because we're not funding the Quinn bill. There's a transfer, quite a few transfers from Weights and Measures, which has been very successful, which has we've been able to move individuals over to that almost like enterprise account that is going to fund them. So we've got a reduction of about 5.1 full-time equivalents that are going to be taken off the general fund budget.
Okay, now, Tom, someone tunes in on Thursday.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about the process of how the night will go, just what the presentations will be, who will be giving them, and that sort of thing?
The President Chirigotis, just yesterday at the press conference on the agenda, mentioned that although it's not listed as a workshop, it'll be run somewhat in that format. We'll probably start with the schools first, and then they will make their presentation as to how their budget was put together and what they're looking for. We've asked everyone to keep these presentations to, 3 to 5 minutes, because when one looks at the agenda, you'll see about 15 or 16 items there that we've got to go through. And their enterprise accounts, and of course the police department, DPW, the big accounts. So we'll start that. Councils will have a chance to ask questions, and several of them have already sent email questions through the council to us, so we've been able to address areas of the budget that they might have seen something that raised an issue for them or wanted to bring up. So we'll be able to address those questions quite quickly for them. Then following Thursday night's meeting on the 20th, we'll hope to get through them all, but there could be a meeting the following Thursday to continue that, or the President could say we'll finish them on June 3rd, which is the next meeting. What we'd actually hope to be doing by that time, though, is actually having the public hearing on the meeting, on the budget, and going through the same line items again, but this time the public could comment on each one. The workshop, it'll be mainly for staff to make their presentation.
The Assistant Town Manager recently attended the New and Effective Ways to End Homelessness meeting sponsored by the Cape and Islands Regional Network to End Homelessness. Here he shares his thoughts on that meeting.
Just recently you went to a regional network to end homelessness.
Yes.
And I just wanted to hear your thoughts about the successes that the Main Street Initiative has had and what came from that meeting last week.
Well, I think through the efforts of Senator Larry to bring everyone together, and we had 40 different groups that came together over a year ago to try to start addressing the individuals that are on Main Street. And there was a statement made that we had 93 people identified. 63 of those were homeless a year ago in March. Now there are only 12 that are homeless this time in March. So we feel they've made some gains. What we can remain concerned about is, there's a backfill when you take care of X number of identified individuals, and there are others that have come in. So, but what it proved and what the statistics showed is that intensive case management, where you, through the police and the social service agencies, the business community, the town, all working together, focusing in on the needs of individuals that are out there on the streets homeless, we can make a difference. And hopefully we'll be able to continue that model, that so-called housing stabilization model in the future.
Now let's take a look at this week's remaining meetings. At 6 o'clock, the amnesty hearings take place in the Town Hall hearing room. At 7 o'clock, the Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission meets in the Selectmen's Conference Room. At 7:30, the Shellfish Committee meets in the MEA Conference Room. Thursday, May 20th, at 7 o'clock, the Town Council meets in the Town Hall hearing room.
Well, that's all for now. For Kevin Friel, I'm Nick Cortez. We'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.